Hello friends, I'm back with another video featuring the Still Devotional Kit by Illustrated Faith. Before I share more about that, I just want to take a moment to say a very big thank you for all of the love and support on my first video, as well as for this channel in general. It was very encouraging to me and I enjoyed reading all of your comments. If you haven't seen that video yet, I recommend watching it first before this one, and I'll have a link to that in the cards above. So onto this video, I'm creating an entry in my faith journal in response to the first session in the devotional, which was called Creating a Space. Talia, the author, encourages us to make space in our schedules, to be intentional about nurturing our relationship with God. She encourages us to cultivate an environment where our hearts and minds can be fully receptive to hear from God, as well as to be heard by Him. She says that taking the time to be still is an act of faith because it shows that we trust God to essentially keep the world spinning. The reminder for me regarding that is to live a life that is unhurried. An unhurried life is one that is steady and purposeful, not one that is lived at a rushed, anxious, or stressful pace. And we can see that in the life of Jesus Christ as depicted in the Gospels, and in particular in Mark chapter 1, verse 35, which is referenced in the devotional. Verses 35 to 39 of that chapter reads, "And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed. And Simon and those who were with him searched for him, and they found him and said to him, 'Everyone is looking for you.' And he said to them, 'Let us go on to the next towns, that I may preach there also, for that is why I came out.' And he went throughout all Galilee, preaching in their synagogues and casting out demons." From my brief study here of this short passage, we see, firstly, that Jesus prioritized time in prayer with the Father. The word desolate refers to a solitary or deserted place. It was a place where he could be alone, most likely, and where he could be in uninterrupted prayer with God the Father. It was important enough that he did this very early in the morning while it was still dark, and probably while others were still asleep. He intentionally chose a time and place, the right conditions, you could say, to be able to be in prayer with the Father. Secondly, we can see that he knew his purpose. He said that he came to preach the good news of the gospel, and he knew where specifically he had to do that on that day. Lastly, we see that he went about his purpose with diligence and prudence. He was not in a hurry, he was never late, he was not confused or stressed about any of the details or where he needed to be, what he had to do, when or how. He had divine appointments, meaning that every place he went to was for a specific reason. And why is that? In John chapter 6, verse 38, he says, "For I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me." We too, as disciples and followers of Jesus Christ, are sent. Our mission is to love God and to love people. We too are called to live for God, to do His will. Our purpose is to be in right relationship with Him, to tell others about Him, to live an abundantly fruitful life for His glory. And we do that by joyfully doing as He wills with love. Living an unhurried life, steady and purposeful, helps us to do that. It frees us from the hustle for more, from the push to do more and be more than what God has said. It frees us from being distracted by what does not matter, and enables us to prioritize what does. It helps us to live as He instructed, instead of following social norms, trends, or culture, or trying to meet the expectations of others. And by His strength, it helps us to do so with joy. Over the last few months, I've been starting my day with a personal prayer that is based on the Lord's Prayer that is found in Matthew chapter 6 as well as Luke chapter 11. One commentary I read on this prayer to understand what it means said that this is a prayer that we pray against ourselves. We prayed against our will, against the natural inclination of ourself. It's a surrender and submitting to God's will because we know our purpose. We know His will for us, and we are aware of the challenges we face in living that out. And we pray it against ourselves because we recognize that we cannot do this on our own. I found that there is so much peace to be had in praying over my day and saying, Lord, your will be done today. Your will and not mine, in my heart, in my life, and in this world. Then, whatever the day holds, the challenges and the blessings, what gets done and what doesn't, the surprises as well as the disappointments, and everything in between, I receive it all as good things from a loving God who is also good. There have been several times when my heart is heavy or I have a lot on my mind that I find that I wake very early in the morning without intending to. I've come to believe that that is God waking me for a chat, to share with Him so that I'm not carrying those burdens as I tend to. As I go about my day, I remain in conversation with Him, and I also intentionally make time to study His Word and be in worship. But as for creating space, as Talia encourages, for me in the season that I'm currently in, actively raising and homeschooling our 3 children, my desolate place, so to speak, is when I'm in the shower. That's about the only time I am guaranteed to be alone, and it's when I intentionally pray and listen to hear from God. What's your desolate place? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you have any questions or other comments about what I shared. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back next week, hopefully, with another video, so please subscribe if you haven't already, so that you don't miss it. Until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your week, and I'll see you in the next one.